symptoms. And I'll share some of my personal history as a way of making that segue. So I have experimented with the ketogenic diet since 96 or 97, I would say. And initially experimented with the ketogenic diet, a cyclical ketogenic diet with 1 day of carbohydrate loading following a glycogen depletion workout. It's a bit of a long story, for athletic purposes. So I was using it to lose body fat and improve my body composition while maintaining some degree of muscular growth and anabolism by spiking insulin once a week with this carbohydrate loading. And it worked spectacularly well. I was using it for athletic performance, but much later now, I've done a fair amount of fasting, quite a bit of ketogenic dieting. And when people ask me for fat loss, there are many options. There are actually quite a few really good options. But the point I make is, if you suffer from depression or anxiety, personally, I have found nothing close to as dramatic as the ketogenic diet for eliciting a significant change. And it's so noticeable for me that if I'm using, say, the an Abbott Labs precision extra device to measure ketone concentrations and millimolars, predictably, based on how I feel in terms of not just mood, but mental acuity. So speed of cognitive turnover. I know it's not a technical term, but just speed of computation, short-term memory. I can tell when my body clicks over past, say, zero point 0.7 millimolars. Predictably, I can guess where I am between zero point 0.7 and, say, 1.0 millimolars based on mood and cognition. And furthermore, over the span of several days, and typically I kickstart ketosis with a period of fasting. I just find that the easiest for me personally, but I recognize the sort of adherence challenges that can pose for a lot of folks. I also seem to, and this is leading to a question, don't worry. I also notice that when I am in reasonably established ketosis, because I think a lot of people think they're in ketosis when they're eating a ketogenic meal once a day, and that we can get to. But when I am measurably in ketosis, my need for sleep also goes down dramatically.
Yeah.
And I would say I wake up, whether I want to or not, after 6 hours of sleep, and I feel fully refreshed. I don't experience the morning grogginess that I typically do. The question is, what the hell is going on? So biochemically, from a genetic on-off switch perspective, what is happening in the body that contributes to some of these experiences and effects?
A brilliant question. And I don't think we have all the answers, because this is a relatively new field in terms of looking at the effects of the ketogenic diet on mental states. And certainly in terms of looking at it in terms of people with exclusive or primary mental disorders, researchers have looked at it for other things. So the first thing I'll say is, you're actually, everything you described is spot on with what I see clinically in dozens of patients and what I hear from patients around the world. And it's one of the challenges. I want to point this out. You're highlighting the decreased need for sleep is one of the biggest risks of using this intervention in people who have had a history of psychosis. And the reason is because, for you, it sounds like it has not been a major problem. I've definitely seen people who have gotten hypomanic especially while they're keto adapting, to the point that they're actually only getting 2 hours of sleep a night, and they can't sleep more than that. And sometimes they recognize this may not be optimal for me, and other times they just think, well, I've got a lot of time now to be productive and get all sorts of shit done. So, one guy actually was going for 20-mile runs starting at like 3 a.m. in the morning, and he complained that he couldn't maintain a normal weight, and he wondered why. And I'm like, dude, you're like sleeping 2 hours a night and you're running 20 miles every day. What did you expect?